So I was watching your video and I've now paused it at I can't actually see the minutes through, 4 minutes, 14 seconds mark. And you say even consciousness itself is part of the simulation. And the error you make there is bigger. It's the biggest error I think one can make, because you're saying that consciousness can be explained by the binary. If you're saying something is a simulation in this, at least in the sense you're meaning it, and I think we're all meaning it, this kind of matrix idea of a computer simulation, and these are all kind of reducible down to this idea of representing information in a way different to what it is. And all of that is totally possible. I think we probably both agree on that. I think I agree with Descartes and Plato and all of these philosophers who have been ultimately skeptical, and brains in vats and all of this kind of stuff, that this could be a simulation. And Bostrom's argument, which is, it's popularizing, I don't think there's any difference of kind about it. It's, apart from the kind of probabilistic aspect to it, is exactly the same as Plato's argument. It is this idea that we could be in a simulation. He says we're more likely to than Plato does, but that's kind of a trivial opinion, I think. But what you have to say when you talk about a simulation in a computer sense, at least, and by this I mean, I want to make a distinction between a simulation that is a binary simulation, something that can be represented just in zeros and ones, and a simulation in some bigger sense that we can't understand. And by this I mean something like the Hindu idea of Leela, I don't know how you pronounce it actually, Lila, this idea of the universe being a simulation. And then that kind of comes into all the Buddhist ideas of the illusionary world and the Gnostic ideas, and I don't know, these are ancient ideas, my point is. So I'm not talking about those ideas, I'm just talking about the idea that you're talking about, which is this idea of a binary computer simulation. If you're saying that consciousness can be explained in that, then you are saying that consciousness can be reduced to zeros and ones. And this is the hard problem of consciousness, and it's much harder than able to be glibly disputed with the singular line in your video. So although I'm only 4 minutes and 14 seconds in, I think it's really important that that distinction is made, that you cannot say that consciousness is reducible to the binary. It's the one thing about all of this you cannot say. All of our sensations, all of our experiences, all of our perceptions, everything could be hijacked, matrix-style, zeros and ones implanted into some kind of analog biological converter. There's no problem with that. But to be able to have these technical philosophers would call them emergent phenomena, corollary kind of stuff, but just the kind of, just imagine the worst you felt, the best you felt, the happiest, most bored, most excited, to say that that can be reduced to any number of zeros and ones, which is what you have to be saying to say what you said, that doesn't make sense to me. It's this is not a spiritual thing, this is not a technical thing, this is just a thing of my understanding that I don't see how the emotions and feelings and sentient experiences I have, and I imagine truly that you do, and probably the dog does, and everyone else does, I don't imagine that can be reduced down to zeros and ones. I think there is something else there that is irreducible to zeros and ones, and you cannot just say that consciousness can be incorporated into the part of any simulation without solving problems that I think beyond the ontological, beyond the metaphysical, it's unfathomable to me. So there we go. That is my reply to your YouTube video. I'm going to upload it, then I'm going to continue watching it. If you do say like, oh yeah, and by the way, exactly what I just said, then I shall eat humble pie. But other than that, cheerio.